Congratulations, you have now finished the first three sections of the course. In this video, you will see the big picture view of what you have learned so far. You started the course by diving directly into exercise 1, which was intended to give you a lot of confidence with Microsoft Project. Once you completed the simple exercise, you then went through a crash course of the building blocks of Microsoft Project, the basic interface, tasks, views, resources, allocations, task dependencies, and schedules. Then, in this current section, you took exercise 2, which was again a simple category project plan. This was intended to reinforce everything you had learned so far. I trust you also have downloaded each of the files from the lessons and followed along. If you have doubts or seek some clarification about the lessons, do not hesitate to ask questions in the discussion board. I typically respond very fast. Asking questions will reinforce your own learning and help all other learners who have the same clarifications in their mind. On the screen now is the classic project management process diagram. Every project management activity you will do as a project manager will belong to one of these process groups. That is initiating, planning, executing, and finally closing processes. Monitoring and controlling processes will encompass all of these. The reason I have brought this up is that Microsoft Project can be used productively through every process of this diagram. What you have done so far in the exercises will typically be done during the initiating and planning processes. You will draw up schedules to work out dates, task allocations, and to get the outlay of the schedule. In future lessons, we will see how Microsoft Project is used for executing projects, monitoring and controlling, and also finally closing projects. Now, before I conclude this lesson, I will offer 3 tips relevant at this stage of the course. Tip 1. Microsoft Project is not a spreadsheet. While this seems very obvious, but it is important to set your expectations correctly at this point of time. A first look at the Gantt view will show the table part looks and behaves like Excel. And then you will quickly enough discover that Microsoft Project performs many scheduling functions automatically. If a new learner does not spend the time and effort to understand how and why the automatic scheduling works, they will quickly get discouraged and intimidated by the tool and perhaps give up on Microsoft Project. Don't let this happen to you. Treat Project like a powerful scheduling tool and it will soon become your powerful ally. Tip 2. I have already reiterated a few times before, but worth mentioning again. As early as possible at the beginning of your schedule planning, configure the project calendar and use automatic task settings. These two things will save you precious time and effort at a later stage. For example, when you are actually executing the projects. Review the lessons again and ask clarifications if required. Tip 3. Estimate work effort and not duration. By default in the Gantt chart, the duration column shows up. But in real life, your estimations are almost always with work effort. So clearly understand the distinction between the two. Use a duration only when you really mean it. Otherwise, your numbers actually mean work effort. Okay, those are all the tips for now. Let us see what we have in the upcoming lessons. The next 2 exercises will continue to increase in complexity than what we have done so far. I call them beginner level, up from the previous simple level. In the immediate next section, you will look more deeply into some core concepts which will reinforce a strong foundation for you. So, see you in the next lesson.